Hello everyone. I'm making this video about a surah in the Holy Quran named Nahl. Nahl means honeybee, right? And the number of surah is 16, 1 6. So let's see what is very fascinating about it. The number 16, we're going to talk about that later, but let's talk about the surah itself first. The ayah that mentioned about that honeybee, right? So this is the ayah here, 68, that mentioned the word Nahl, right? So let me read it for you. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وأوحى ربك إلى النحل أن اتخذي من الجبال بيوتا ومن الشجر ومما يعرشون. The meaning is right there in English. And your Lord inspired to the bee, take for yourself among the mountains houses and among the trees. Means make your houses in the mountains and caves and trees, and in that which you they construct. What do they construct? Hives, honeycombs, right? The next ayah is summa kuli min kulli samarati, and then go and eat min kulli samarat means all the fruits and the flowers. First, Luki Subula Rabbiki Zulula. You can read this here. Then eat from all the fruits and fruits in the samarat includes the fruits and the flowers, right? So fruit and follow the ways of your Lord laid down for you. Now this explanation here is not very clear. What ways? Follow the ways your Lord laid down for you. So we need to know what ways, what is it? So it was not very clear in the translation, most of the translations we have in English or Urdu, in any other languages right now, right? Now, more after this here, it says, يَخْرُجُ مِن بُطُونِهَا شَرَابٌ مُخْتَلِفٌ أَلْوَانُهُ فِيهِ شِفَاءٌ لِلنَّاسِ إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. And there, well, let's read this. Now, there emerges or coming out from their bellies a drink, something to drink, varying in colors, different colors, in which there is a healing for people. Right. So that what does that mean? That means that when the honeybee goes to the flowers and then suck out the nectar of the flowers, and then they convert that nectar into honey. So that honey has um, a healing for people. Now we know that all the diseases are created by God Almighty, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. And of course, there's a hadith that there is not a single disease that God has not provided the cure. Here it says that this honey has a fihi shifa'un nas, a cure for the people. And what cure for what disease? It doesn't say, but that means that a broad number of diseases have cure in this honey. Now, this line here, the first Luki Subula Rabbiki Zulula, always bothered me. So what does that mean? That you eat the fruit or suck out the nectar from the flowers and then follow the ways of your Lord laid down for you. What ways? How do you follow the ways? Right? There are no roads or streets in the air, right, where the bee fly around. So what is it? So I start, doing some research, and let's see what I found. Okay. So I went to nowadays we have a tool called Chat GPT, right? So you ask, and that brings the answer from all over the World Wide Web, right? Whatever it is available there, and most of the time it's very correct, right? So let's see. I have a few tabs open here. So the first one here, we can see that how when I wanted to know that how this honeybee makes honey, right? When she goes to, but by the way, let me go back to that surah and then show you something very good, fascinating. That here, when Allah Subhanahu wa Taala is mentioning, وَأَوْحَى رَبُّكَ إِلَى النَّحْلِ أَنِ اتَّخِذِي. Now, takhazu is for male, and takhzi is for female. So Allah Subhanahu wa Taala is talking or addressing honeybee, but a female honeybee, right? Just keep in mind. And then here also, summa kuli. Kuli means again, addressing the female. Kulu would be the male that Allah is talking to, a male bee, right? But here is kuli means summa kuli min kuli samarate. First luki again. First luki is for female. It's a female tense. Okay. So basically, keep in mind that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is actually sending a revelation or inspiring female honeybee. Okay, so let's find out what is ChatGPT is talking about, how she or female honeybee makes honey from the nectar. So the first step is nectar collection. So let's read it. Bees start the honey making process by flying from flower to flower, collecting nectar. Nectar is a sugary liquid produced by flowers to attract pollinators. Pollinator means that the one that takes the pollen from one flower to other to create more flowers or seeds, right? So now bees use their long specialized tongues to suck the nectar out of the flower and store it in the part of their stomach called the honey stomach or crop. Now, some say that honey has two different stomach, and some information comes out like there's a separate department or portion of the stomach which is called honey stomach, right? So the normal stomach do the digesting process, right? But this part, the other part, special part of the stomach does not do any digestive process. It just simply store the nectar there for time being. That's what it is. And it's called also the crop, right? So now the next step is what? The transportation nectar back to the hive. Now, once the nectar, she is collecting nectar from one flower, the second, the third, the fourth, and now that stomach or the storage is full with nectar, right? So now she's flying back to the hive or their home, right? Now, let's read. Once the bee honey stomach is full, it flies back to the hive. The bee is now a nectar carrier. So basically, she is collecting the nectar and then bring it back to the hive. Inside the hive, now hive also have full of honeybees, right? Now it passes the nectar to another worker bee by regurgitating the nectar into the other bee's mouth. Regurgitating means that bringing back the food that has been swallowed already inside the stomach, bringing it back to in your mouth. That's what they, like cow always doing, sitting yum yum, right? So that's what it is. So now bee also does that. Then this bee then start the transformation process. So the first bee collect the nectar, bring back to the hive, and then it gives that nectar to another bee, which stays in the hive from mouth to mouth transfer. And then the second bee start the process of making honey. This is how it is, right? Then the third process is enzyme that's action, right? So when the second bee receives the nectar, it mixes it with enzyme from its saliva. These enzymes break down the complex sugars into the nectar in the nectar into simpler sugars, like which is essential for the nectar to become honey. Those are, what are these? One of the key enzyme is called invertase, whatever it is, I don't know, which helps to convert sucrose to sugar in nectar into glucose and fructose, right? So this is the process that happens to make the nectar into honey. Now, another step, the step number 4 is what? The nectar that the bees bring back is very watery, containing about 70% water. To turn it into honey and make it thicker, right, bees need to reduce the water content. Now, what do? Is that they do this by spreading the nectar in the hexagonal wax cells of the hives, right, of the honeycomb. You have small cells in the honeycomb. So they put the nectar there, and then what do? And using their wings to fan the nectar, right? Now they are like, flying around over that and creating the airflow, right? Here, the air circulation helps evaporate the water from the nectar. thickening it into honey. And then the fifth step is that once the nectar has turned into honey and the water content has reduced to around 18% from the 80%, the bee capped the honeycomb cell with a thin layer of bee wax. This seals the honey in, allowing it to be stored and preserved for later use, particularly during the winter when nectar is not as readily available. So these are 5 steps that a bee has to do to convert the nectar from the flower into honey and store it and preserve it. Right now, another thing that I want to mention here is on the other tab is that when I say that what is honey stomach, what the heck is that? Right. So now, explanation here. So honey stomach refers to a special part of the honeybee's digestive system that function as a storage organ for nectar. It is sometimes called the crop or honey sac. Here's how it works. Collecting nectar, when a honeybee forages for nectar, it uses its proboscis. Proboscis is a long straw type of tongue, right? And what they do is that to suck up the nectar and store it in the honey stomach. Then the nectar is temporarily stored in the honey stomach, which is a specialized part of the honeybee's digestive system that sits between the bee's head and its abdomen. Now, the honey stomach can hold a significant amount of nectar, about 70% of the bee's body weight. And then, obviously, we already read that, she goes and then give it back to the another bee, right? That lives in the hives all the time, and then she starts to process the honey in her stomach. Now, let's open another tab that I did some. So now, what about little information about the male and female honeybees, right? So now, the female honeybees, what are they? Queen bee. Now, rule, the queen is the sole reproductive female in the hive. She is the only one that giving eggs, right? And now worker bees, female. Now, what does that mean? Worker bees are only female, means only the female bee participate or work to make honey, not male, only female. And that is the reason here you can see that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sending inspiration to this Nahl, the honeybee, but remember, in the beginning, I said it, it is all this summa kuli min kulli samarati fasluki. These are female tense. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing female honeybee, not the male. And now scientific fact is that only the female workers are the workers that make collect the nectar and then make honey, not the male. Male are only for reproduction, for the eggs, right? You can see here, male honeybees, drones, they are called drones, not the drone we know now flying around, but these are the drones, right? What is the role? Drones are the male bees whose primary role is reproduction. Simple as that. So it's very fascinating to know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran using the female tense, right? Addressing the female honeybee. And at that time, 1400 years ago, nobody knew, no human being knew that, only the female makes the honey, right? So that is also a kind of like a proof that this Quran is not written by a human being, it is by the creator who created the bee, because the creator knows everything, right? Now, this whole process of making honeybee, making honey from nectar, that is the meaning of this line here. Fasluki subula rabbiki zulula. Now you see that it says that, and follow the ways of your Lord lay down for you. That's not the real meaning. The meaning is that follow the way that I taught you how to make honey from nectar. That is going to be the meaning, the real meaning of this. Fasluki subula rabbiki zulula. Now I understand what is the real meaning of that. So it is right after that, the order of Summa Kuli min kulli thamarat. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordering the honeybee that go and drink or eat or drink those nectars from the fruits and flowers, and then do whatever I ordered you or taught you how to make the honey from the nectars. Then the nectar becomes that what comes out yakhruju min butuniha. So Allah says whatever comes out after that, that basically honey from their bellies, sharabu mukhtalifun, that is honey. Fihi shifa'ul linnas, and the honey has what? Cure. That's the God's way, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's way to provide us cure for diseases. So honey is a very, very good thing, but this is the information that I want to mention in this video. Another thing, the number 16, the surah number is 16. Now this, no, not this one, right? So this ayah or the verse 68 mentioned the word Nahl, right? So if you count the words, like wa is one word, ha is the second, rabbuka is the third, ila is the fourth, Nahl is the fifth. So when you count all of them, the total comes to 16. So 16 words used in this verse where the name Nahl is mentioned, right? Not only that, but also there are 16 different alphabets are used in this verse. Like wa is one, and it doesn't matter how many times it is used here, right? This here, but you count that only wow, we call it wow, right? Or ba or noon, just one alphabet. So 16 different alphabets are used in this to construct this verse, right? These are the two things. Now, let me show you another thing that where the number 16 is involved. Let me open this, right? Number of chromosomes. Now, chromosome is that something that all you can, you need to know that it has something to do with the reproduction, right? Now, female honeybees, queen and workers have 32 chromosomes in total, means consisting of 16 pairs of chromosomes, right? 16 is that. But the male do not have pairs. They have total of 16 chromosomes. So in both female and male, the number 16 is involved. Male has 16 chromosomes, and female honeybees have 16 pairs of chromosomes. I guess 16 extra chromosomes are to make, to help making the honey, right? But the 16 number, you see, the placement of the surah in the Quran is based on, maybe there are some more, and this is the miracle of the Quran. So maybe there are some more reasons, but I found these three, that the number of chromosome are 16, and this one, the female has twice the number of 16, and the total number of words used in this ayah number 68, where the word Nahl is mentioned, are also 16, and total number of different alphabets are used, Arabic alphabets, to construct this whole ayah or the verse 68 are also 16. So the 16 is there, and that's why the placement of this surah in the Quran is number 16, right? So that's one thing that I wanted to just mention, that that proves that only Allah or God so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or God can only mention this, and nobody else knew at that time. And the way to construct something like this, it's not human work, definitely, right? And this meaning of this, that go and eat or take the nectar and go and follow the way or the process that I taught you how to make honey, and do that. This is the order. Fasluki subula rabbiki zulula. So I found it very fascinating that this is what it is, and the tense used for female honeybee. Who knew at that time that only female honeybee makes the honey, right? Now we know after 1400 years, right? But at that time, nobody knew that, right? So anyway, this is it for now. So I'm going to close this video, and I have this, same thing. I'm going to make a video about the Surah Hadid. The Hadid means iron, right? So something like that over there as well, scientific facts. So I'll make that video later on sometime. So this is it for now. All right. So assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa akhiru da'wana. Anil hamdulillahi rabbil alamin.